You're listening to the Jonker Talk podcast. This podcast is brought to you by MC242 IPR MSA UITM Malacca chapter as an assignment for PRO549. Remember, Jonker Walk is a place, Jonker Talk is us.
Hi, hello. I'm your host, Sanya, for today's podcast, Birth and Beyond in Jonker Talk. And I have invited a very special and a quite popular guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Hassan. I'm from MC242A.
Thank you for coming today. So, Hassan, in today's episode, we are going to discuss the fifth Millennium Development Goals, or MDG for short. Are you familiar with that?
Maybe
Maybe. But
I was on Marisa's podcast, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
familiar with it.
So basically, it's like the goal set by the United Nations to solve global problems. But do you know what the fifth MDG is?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, the fifth MDG is to improve maternal health. And in the definition of the World Health Organization, maternal health refers to the health of women during pregnancy, childbirth, and postnatal period, so after the pregnancy. Okay, let's get started, Hassan. Ask me what the T is in maternity.
All right, so let's go.
Let's go.
So, what's the T in maternity?
Okay, well, what we really need to know is the woman's role in capitalism and patriarchy. This is going to be the central point in my podcast, and we'll move from there to its impact to mothers and then comment on some issues, hence the name of my podcast, Birth and Beyond.
Sure.
But Hassan, do you have any clue of what either of these words mean, capitalism, patriarchy?
For capitalism, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong,
Uh-huh.
maybe it's how the economy works and basically how the economy is based on working and getting wages,
Mm-hmm.
getting paid. And then for patriarchy, I think the movie Barbie is a good example of
Yeah. Actually, it is a good example of Barbie. Thank you for your input. But let me explain more on what you said about capitalism earlier. Capitalism is basically the economic system in which monetary goods, are owned by the big fishes, basically the big individuals or the big companies, and only workers will earn the wage. You want me to simplify it?
Yeah,
You
sure,
understand?
yes, please.
Yes. Okay. The owners make a profit with the workers' labor. Like, for example, they take a fruit and hand out a bite to you as a worker, and you pick the fruit, but you only get like to bite a portion of the fruit.
Huh?
Yeah, you only get to bite like a little bit of the grape that you picked. Yeah, but capitalism, people feel like you aren't forced to work. You feel like there's this illusion of choice where you feel like you don't have to work. But what happens? What actually happens if you don't participate in capitalism?
You won't survive. You need money you need money to live. You need
Yeah,
money
exactly.
for food, for a roof over your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's how the economic system works in life. You
Yeah.
need capitalism. You need to make money through capitalism.
Yep.
And yeah, moving on to the patriarchy, like you said earlier, like in the Barbie's movie, it's more men central. Like Ken being the male center of Barbie. It's basically all and any decisions has to be made by a man, and the woman has to be subservient to the male. So basically, women in patriarchy, they're only expected to be housewives, do the mundane tasks, children, chores, whereas men have to do all of the important things, all of the important decisions. But if you want to get to know more on this topic of patriarchy, I'd recommend going to Marissa Nabila's podcast, in which she talks about #Woman to Woman uncovering the patriarchy.
Yes, do listen to her podcast.
Yeah, I
because
believe
I'm
you're
a guest
yes,
on there.
you're a guest there.
Yeah, hot topic.
Hot topic. Hassan, but do you have any idea on what the connection of this patriarchy and capitalism are towards mothers?
Is it because they have to work and at the same time they have to take care of their children?
Oh my god, you're so right. You are actually
Yeah.
right. Yippee! Okay, well, basically, with the unstable economy and the increased cost of living, it's obviously normalized for also not only men but also women to work because of the capitalist society. And you'd think that a household would also be equal in a dual income household, but like you said, women still have to do more work than men, like take care of the house, take care of the children. It's disproportionate. It's unbalanced,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But in a patriarchal society, it's only supposed to be men that had to make the important decisions or contribute greatly to the family.
Uh-huh.
And a woman have to work too, while also taking care of the children and the husband as well. Speaking on your experiences with your podcast with Marissa, patriarchy isn't that much of an issue, right? It's just the power balance that needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's just how it's being handled.
Yeah, like everyone needs a leader. It's just
Yeah.
about respect and
Yeah,
balance.
it's fair, but it also depends on the context and how it's
Yes,
handled.
you are
Yes.
correct. But you know who suffers the most in a capitalist society?
Who?
The victims of capitalism is basically the underprivileged women in the third world countries that barely make enough to survive. There's this journal article that I feel so emotional reading, which is by Jonathan Patton, entitled The Patriarchy of Accumulation. Homework, fieldwork, the reproduction nexus in rural Indonesia, which is basically what underprivileged class of women go through, which is to extensively have long hours of work with little pay while also struggling to raise her child at the same time. You should read it sometime.
Inshallah.
And these mothers are called home packers, where they pack keropok at home or make toys at home, anything part-time to do at home to make extra income while also taking care of their children, because they can't really leave their children alone,
Yeah.
And this, even though the husband works at the same time, this extra income goes directly to the roof over the head and food, because it's just not enough in the economy to just for the husbands to work. Women also need to work. And yeah, let's recognize this stigma around men and childcare, where men, when taking care of children, is a good dad.
Yeah.
Right? But they're asking like, where's the mom? But when the mom is taking care of the child, it's like, that's what your job is supposed to be.
Yeah, no one's appreciating that.
Yeah, no one's appreciating the mothers. Shout out to all the mothers out there.
Yes, I love you, mommy.
Love you, mama. But it's also normalized just for men to do the bare minimum, right? But
Yeah.
that's literally how they were brought up. We can't really
we
can't really blame them for that. They can change as they grow up, but let's try to denormalize that.
Yeah.
Have you seen that normalization happening?
Yeah. I feel like it's common for people to always say that the ladies have to take care of the children, yada yada yada. And then when they're resting, and then the husband is taking care of the children, it's like, wow, good husband, very good boy.
Yeah. And with that in mind, like just the pressure of it. What does having like the pressure of taking care of your children, your spouse, your house, and your chores, and also the work that you do, trying to balance that, what does that do to a mother?
Yeah, it's like a never-ending cycle, and it will affect your mental health.
Yeah, their mental health will take a plummet. They already feel stressed already because of work, already work. Like for example, you do like a corporate job where it's 9 to 5, and you come home, you have to
work again.
Yeah, work again. Like basically, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do the laundry. Like juggling these roles, they can be a burnout, and they can really deteriorate a mother's mental health. And also, secondly, mothers, they're very pure creatures. They feel guilt for not being able to spend as much time with her children as she likes. Like basically, these mothers, they're actually just working for the sake of the children, but at the same time, they feel like they're missing out on the child's growth.
Yeah.
Right? And also the societal norms, the societal expectations of mothers, especially I don't know if you've seen TikTok of Nara Smith.
Unfortunately, I've never heard of her.
Oh, you've never heard of her? Basically, she tries to cook everything from scratch. And as a mother that is working, you can't do that. You have to only be a housewife to do that. And you feel like, you know what, the meal that I provide is just maybe instant, but I feel like that's enough for my child. Sometimes it's just the pressure of trying to be like the perfect mother, of what social media tries to portray.
Yeah.
Like you have to do like gentle parenting, you can't raise your voice. There's so many expectations for you to be a perfect mother that you feel like you're not a perfect mother, but you're actually a good mother. Yeah. And also the financial burdens, like we discussed earlier, the financial burdens that have been placed on also mothers as well now that they're also working. But imagine not only mothers, single mothers.
Yeah.
Who are the sole income earners.
Yeah, the only breadwinner of the family.
Yes, exactly.
I think especially for single mothers, it's gonna be very heavy for them.
Mm-hmm.
They have to juggle between taking care of the children and then their work.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if the children needs the mother to come to school, any parent-teacher related things.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be very heavy.
Exactly.
And at that point, And certain time when the mother can't come to school,
Mm-mm.
the children will feel like my mom doesn't love me
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
So they
that's
will
really
always
sad.
be resentful because they don't understand yet.
But single mothers, they're so pure. They really try their best to take care of the child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
But let's also talk about like the personal side effects from pregnancy. Did you know that what is it called? Like after you give birth, I mentioned it. Yeah, post pregnancy basically, the breasts start leaking milk as well.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh, you've heard of it, yeah. And then also like the baby crying all night, changing baby's diapers, waking up early to take care of both your spouse and baby and other children, and also trying to look pretty postpartum while also feeling your worst
Yeah.
without the already burden of being a woman in general.
Yeah.
Even I not being a mother, that sounds very tiring.
It does. Even I'm not a lady,
Mm-hmm.
I can give birth.
Uh-huh.
I feel like wow. Sounds so tiring. I feel like I want
Right?
to take a nap from just listening to that.
But like knowing this, if you're a man, just please try to take on like the role, like, try to take on the role to try to
I understand better, do
yeah,
better,
understand better,
and
do
be
better.
My
Just
mom
do
always
better.
constantly remind me that whenever I get married, be a better dad, be a better husband, be better in every way.
And now that you're also like advising the listeners to also
Yes.
yeah.
Be good to your wives, people.
Yeah. But a penny for a thought, right? What do you think about women working before starting family?
I feel like they should.
They
I feel
should.
like it's very important because if anything happens, they will have something to go back to.
Okay, but in saying that, did you know that South Korea has the world's lowest birth rate because women are concerned about their career advancements first?
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, because they're concerned about their career advancement. They just want to work more. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So in South Korea, the birth rate dropped from 0.78 in 2022 to 0.72 in 2023.
Wow.
And it's predicted to drop way more in 2004 to 0.6.
So they are going extinct. The Koreans are slowly going extinct.
They literally are, because I read this news article that where a South Korean woman quoting that I was watching this cartoon dinosaur where the dinosaur is just jokingly making saying that they're going extinct, and then South Korean laughing at that saying that's how I feel.
So basically, all the Korean women are saying,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, but realistically, right? Women, they're just concerned about the momentum to lose when they're working because they're very highly educated and they're scared that, as the same reasons that the impact of the mothers that we talked about just now, the mental health plummeting, that's also the same reasons that they're scared to have a child.
Yeah, and it also Korean society is very competitive.
Yeah, exactly. Because okay, let me tell you about this news that I read. Have you ever heard of the 4B movement in South Korea?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, so basically in South Korea, the patriarchy society is very, very, very
Strong.
relevant. Yeah, very, very strong. Where it's not the good type. It's like the more like male dominated one where you have to be a housewife and all. And in this 4B movement, it's just challenging these patriarchal norms. 4B is based off of 4 principles, which is no to heterosexual marriage, no to childbirth, no to dating, and no to heterosexual relationships. Heterosexual sexual relationships. So yeah. And basically, in this article, this South Korean woman named Yoon Ji-ye explains that in South Korea, wives are often expected to do everything: work, raise children, care for aging in-laws, with little state or community help, which we discussed earlier. That is like the definition of patriarchy. And she said that she personally feels like there are more disadvantages than advantages. They only want subservient women or women that are only obedient to them. And did you know that if you have a high degree or a high education, that becomes like a minus point for you as a wife? Because they just want like an obedient wife just to stay at home, just to take care of the child, just to
They
produce.
just want a doll.
I wouldn't say that. It's a bit
A
controversial.
trophy wife.
Yeah, a trophy wife. Basically, just want a trophy wife. But the reason why she is speaking out is because she's seen her same well-educated friends hitting the same barriers at work and experiencing problems at work after having children. Basically, in South Korea, you have to pick a career or have children, which is a lot, right?
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy. You've worked hard to get your high education, and only for you to have to pick that or having a family.
Yeah.
And you know what? All this time that we've been envying South Korea's beauty standard. You know the beauty standard?
Yeah, it's very like very high.
Yeah, very like
It's a very high.
white
It has to be perfect. White
skin, like
skin, big eyes, sharp nose.
yeah. Basically, that is also because of patriarchy.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yes. And she lists out several reasons why she does not engage with men. Is because they are very entitled over her own body, saying that okay, basically she had long hair and then she cut it short, and then the male around her said, "I like your hair to be longer." Like that's not your choice to make, right?
Yeah, definitely no.
And also, she has said that Korean men has been exposed to so many unconsented crimes, basically like unconsented spy cam videos or revenge porn.
I've heard of revenge porn and spy cams in Korea is very serious. It's an
Yes.
epidemic, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's an epidemic. It's literally an
I've
epidemic.
seen the news on social media before.
Yeah.
My thoughts on it is it's like you should your society is your citizens are very smart, yet you the cases of that happening is very prevalent. It shows how Korean men are very, very crazy lah.
Exactly. I mean, I can't really. That's your opinion, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
that's your
opinion.
opinion. And of course, women, they only just want the best for themselves. That's understandable, right?
Yeah,
It's
of course.
understandable that they want children, but they don't want to have like a bad husband or a bad dad for the children. I also want like a good dad for my child. And also having a spouse that understands you, understands that you don't want to be a housewife because of their own like patriarchal upbringing. But you know what? The birth rate in South Korea has gotten so bad that as of February 2024, this year, a total of 157 elementary schools across South Korea do not have any first graders.
Yeah, that's very bad.
That's very bad, right?
Basically, like I said, like, all the Korean ladies, all the Korean mothers or wives saying, nah, no.
Right. They just, it's so bad. Like, can you just imagine like this classroom is literally like just empty. Like
Yeah.
a first graders in 157 elementary schools.
Yeah,
That's
so many.
that's actually really sad.
Yeah.
That's actually really sad to think about. But you know what? The South Korean government has been like really trying their best to increase the birth rate.
Oh, they give it incentives, is it?
Yeah, they give incentives to married couples only in South Korea. So basically, currently, what they're giving is a child will receive. Okay, this is the incentive that they're doing. They're putting 35 million won to 50 million won through various incentive and support programs from birth until the child reaches 7. So, for example, free IVF treatments they're giving if you can't reproduce or if you have like a genetic issue, you can go for IVF. But since April 2022, the South Korean government has been handing out cash vouchers. Yes, worth 2 million won for your first child.
Yay.
For your second and third child, and the children after that, 3 million won.
Yay. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? And in an effort to further subsidize the cost of giving birth to children and taking care of children, the government has been continuing to give cash, destroying money.
Yes.
Right? And the monthly stipend parents receive for newborns first year also increased in 2024 to 1 million won. So they've increased it more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But this shows how serious they are in trying to fix the epidemic.
Yes.
Trying to fix the extinction.
Yes, but it's still going down. The rate is still going down.
Yeah, so it also says that it's not working also.
Yeah. And since 2018, parents receive 100,000 won handout every month for the child for several years. Yeah.
But still not working.
Yeah, it's also still not working.
Wow.
And in 2024, parents are expected to receive over 8 years at least 29.6 million won,
which is the equivalent of
22,000 USD from the government. Yeah, in a span of 8 years.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. And also, the government has also been in collaboration with private companies to have incentives. Basically, the companies are the ones that you're working in. They're like, okay, and any of which of my employees want to give birth or reproduce or have babies, I'll give you bonuses. Yeah.
That is so Serious?
Yes, it is very serious. It's actually a national emergency.
Who would have thought?
Yes.
Paid to have kids?
Yes.
Sign me up.
Um,
Oh yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, basically, aside from tax benefits and other government support measures, also babysitting programs for because they acknowledge that South Korean women they want to balance work life and family at the same time, so they're giving this babysitting services, which is great, which is great for them. They've also acknowledged or have been campaigning for South Koreans to have balance for their work life and family. And what the government is actually is doing is in the efforts working towards the goals of MDG 5 earlier, which is to fulfill access to reproductive health. So they are giving IVF treatments, they're giving incentives, lots of them. And this year again, they have so many plans this year for for reproducing. The government will expand childbirth incentives, paternity leave benefits, and housing welfare programs for family with newborn. So basically, if you want to have a child, they can give you a house as an incentive, which is big. Which is a lot.
It's very serious. Actually, it's very nice.
Yes.
You make babies, you get free house, free money, free healthcare, free everything.
Yes, I think the government's actually doing a great job at acknowledging that these people are working to get money, but now the government is just giving away money.
Yeah.
Yes, for you to have children, but obviously you have to have your own choice if you want to have children or
Yeah,
not.
of
Like you have to
course.
really think,
Think
not
we-
even like once or twice, like a lot of times if you
Yeah,
want to bring a child into
thousands,
this world.
yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I feel it's relevant to quote a podcast from the Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, episode 2, where he thinks money is the equivalent to pleasure. And what we want is what we think these things will make us happy. Stephen is a believer that pleasure is fleeing and happiness is being fulfilled. So when people chase this pleasure of money as an illusion of happiness, you actually just have to learn to be grateful for what you have to achieve the greatest happiness, because
true.
the what happiness is ultimately feeling fulfillment in the long term.
Yeah, and it's also oneself's own opinion of happiness.
Yes, also yes. But take this as a lesson of this podcast. Take this podcast as a lesson to just balance everything. Do everything in moderation. Do what makes you content. But that doesn't mean giving up work that you love or giving up the dream of having children.
Yes, true.
At the end of the day, everyone's just entitled to lead their own life.
Yeah.
How they see fit.
I agree.
And at the same time, to truly improve maternity is to consider your situation and be acknowledged about what other women are going through in this world. Just put yourself in their shoes. And for the men listening, try to help around. Or maybe, no, don't help around. Be a part of it.
Yes.
Be involved.
Yeah,
Do your
be
part
better.
equally. Yeah, be
Literally,
better.
Be better, be equal, be
Yes.
nicer, be more understanding,
Mhm.
be a better person the next time you hear these kind of things.
Yeah. Until then, this is your host, Sanya.
And this is Hassan, Sania's guest.
Yeah. See you again, maybe in the next episode. And remember, Jonker Walk is a place. Jonker Talk is this podcast. Bye.
Bye. Yippee.
Yippee.